Heat, warmth, silence. Outside, winter ruled everything. A vast American pine forest stretched endlessly beneath a sky heavy with storm clouds. Snow fell in thick curtains, erasing tracks almost as soon as they appeared. The wind howled through the trees like a living creature, rattling branches and driving waves of powder across the frozen ground. In the center of that frozen wilderness stood an ancient redwood tree, massive and timeless. Its trunk had been carved carefully over the years into a small, sturdy home. My home. Inside, everything was different. The fireplace burned bright orange and gold, filling the carved wooden room with gentle heat. Shadows flickered along the curved walls, and the scent of pine wood smoke mixed with the rich aroma of simmering fish soup. I sat on a heavy wooden chair near the fire, a steaming bowl resting in my hands. Beside me stood my companion, a powerful bald eagle with sharp golden eyes and a proud white head. He shifted his wings slightly as I lifted a spoon and let it cool before offering him a small bite. He accepted it carefully, tilting his head with quiet trust. "Easy," I murmured. "Still hot." Outside, the storm raged louder, shaking the treehouse like distant thunder. Snow struck the windows in wild bursts. Yet inside, there was only warmth, the steady crackle of flames, the quiet rhythm of breathing, and the peaceful sense of isolation that came with living far from cities. I thought the night would pass like any other, but fate was already moving through the forest. Far away in the blinding snow, a massive white bear struggled forward. Her thick fur was dusted with frost, and her breaths came in heavy clouds of steam. Held carefully in her jaws was a tiny cub, limp, silent, and barely alive. She moved slowly, guided not by sight but by instinct, by some invisible pull leading her toward light and heat, toward my door. A sudden sound cut through the storm, a low thud, then another. The bald eagle stiffened, turning toward the entrance. I placed my bowl down slowly and reached for the hunting rifle leaning against the wall. Living alone in the American wilderness meant never ignoring a warning sign. I checked the chamber, loaded it, and moved quietly toward the door. The wind roared louder as I cracked it open. Cold air exploded inside. Snow swirled across the floor. At first, I saw nothing but white. Then, movement. Right at my feet lay a small white bear cub, barely breathing. Its tiny chest rose and fell weakly, fur soaked and icy. A few feet beyond, partially hidden by drifting snow, stood the mother bear. She didn't charge. She didn't growl. She simply watched me, eyes heavy with exhaustion and something that looked painfully close to hope. I swallowed hard, lowering the rifle slightly. "Easy," I whispered. The cub made a faint sound, almost like a sigh. I stepped forward slowly, kneeling in the snow. My hand hovered over the cub's cold fur before finally touching it. Ice clung to its coat, and its body trembled weakly. Behind it, the mother bear lowered herself onto her front paws. Not in aggression, but in surrender. It felt like a silent request. "Please, help my child." I slung the rifle over my shoulder and carefully lifted the cub into my arms. It weighed almost nothing. As I stepped backward into the house, the mother bear followed slowly, cautiously, stopping just inside the doorway. The storm roared outside, but inside the fire glowed brighter. I laid the cub on a thick, dry towel near the fireplace and gently rubbed its fur to warm it. The bald eagle hopped closer, tilting his head curiously, letting out a soft clicking sound. "You're safe now, little one," I whispered. The mother bear remained near the wall, massive but still, her eyes never leaving her cub. Minutes passed, Then the cub's tiny eyelids twitched. A weak cry escaped its throat. Relief washed through me like heat. I glanced at the mother bear, slowly reaching out to touch her head. She didn't pull away. Her fur was cold, but soft beneath my hand. "Storm's over for you," I said quietly. I returned to the pot over the fire, scooping warm fish into a wooden bowl. Carefully, I slid it across the floor toward her. She hesitated only a moment before eating, hunger overpowering fear. For the cub, I warmed a small bowl of milk and fed it slowly with a spoon. Each sip brought more life back into its eyes. Tiny paws flexed against the towel as it made soft, content sounds. The room felt alive. A strange family gathered by firelight while the world outside froze. But something tugged at my thoughts. They couldn't stay here forever. Later, as the bears slept near the fire, I stood staring into the flames. "I have to go," I murmured. The bald eagle lifted his wings as if he already understood. I grabbed a shovel from the corner and opened the door. The storm had calmed slightly, but snow still fell thick and heavy. Step by step, we moved through the forest. The eagle glided overhead while I searched for the right place. A deep snowdrift between thick pine trees. Somewhere sheltered, somewhere safe. I began digging. Layer by layer, the snow fell away beneath the shovel. My breath came hard, turning to mist in the freezing air. Just like before, I thought. Just like the shelters I had built for injured wildlife over the years. The pit grew deeper, shaped like a small den. I lined the floor with pine needles for warmth and built a sturdy frame from branches. A fallen pine became a door, blocking the wind. In the center, I lit a small fire, watching smoke curl upward into the open air. Yes, I whispered, stepping back to admire it. This will hold. When I returned to the treehouse, the cub was stronger, wobbling on its tiny legs near the fireplace. The mother bear rose slowly as I approached. "Time to wake, my friend," I said softly. I wrapped the cub gently in a blanket and carried it outside. The mother bear followed close behind, the bald eagle circling above like a silent guardian. The journey through the forest felt calmer now. Snow crunched beneath our steps as we reached the new shelter. Inside, the fire glowed warmly. The cub stumbled forward, curious and alive again. It circled the den, letting out soft, playful sounds. The mother bear lay beside the fire, finally resting without tension. I stepped outside, standing beside the bald eagle. Through the doorway, I watched them. Safe, warm, together. A quiet satisfaction settled in my chest. Sometimes survival wasn't about strength or weapons. Sometimes it was just about opening a door. The storm clouds slowly parted, revealing pale American winter sunlight filtering through the trees. I turned toward the eagle, who perched silently on a branch. "Another life saved," I whispered. He let out a sharp cry that echoed through the forest. Inside the snow shelter, the cub curled against its mother, breathing peacefully. And for a moment, the wild felt less lonely. Narration ending. The images in this story were created with the help of imagination and AI, but the feeling behind them is real. Compassion, coexistence, and respect for nature. In a world where humans and wildlife often collide, even one act of kindness can change a life, maybe even save one. Because sometimes, in the coldest storms, all a creature needs is warmth and someone willing to open the door.